So there's quite a process to it.
Right. So basically, the clients are actually sitting down with the builder and choosing exactly what they want. Sometimes they're working off of a pre-existing floor plan maybe, but they're able to make adjustments and to be able to choose what they want at the end of the day.
For sure. You might have said that better than me,
A
but
little shorter, I'd say,
yeah, for sure.
but Well, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Keys. I am once again here with my brother, Greg. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion about what's happening with the custom builds in Saskatoon. Greg, can you give us a little bit of a insight on, I guess, what's the definition of a custom build to you, first of all?
Well, first off, I want to thank you for inviting me once again back onto the podcast.
I didn't have a choice.
A custom build. So when we're looking at somebody wanting to build a property that they help design, it could be anything from the blueprints to, it all starts, I guess, with a custom property. You're finding the lot. So you're finding where you're going to build this property, which then a lot of times will then let us know what kind of property that you're going to build. And then it's looking into the blueprints, the design, and then all your finishes, cosmetic finishings, flooring, cabinets, and so forth. So a custom design is usually you're working with a builder, and there's certain builders. We represent Bella Vista Developments. There's other builders that we've worked with in the past that will build more of these properties because they specialize in it, right? Mm-hmm. So it takes a little bit longer to come up with that design of that property, and it could be depending on what you like and what you think you're going to build, maybe 2 to 3 months, maybe even longer to be able to come up with that design. Mm-hmm. Then they put everything into the blueprint form and then look at renderings I guess renderings first and then blueprints, and then they kind of decide on what they're going to build, right? So there's quite a process to it.
Right. So basically, the clients are actually sitting down with the builder and choosing exactly what they want. Sometimes they're working off of a pre-existing floor plan maybe, but they're able to make adjustments and to be able to choose what they want at the end of the day.
For sure. You might have said that better than me. But
a little shorter, I'd
yeah,
say. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, one thing is that, you mentioned a little bit about the lots and what kind of style of home is it. That does play a big factor on, what location you're going to be being able to find those lots. And then obviously if it's a newer area or older one that we're doing an infill, right? So
yeah, which we look at building a new property in an established neighborhood, right? If you're looking at a walkout, there's only a certain lots that are going to allow you for the topography to be able to do that, unless you're on an acreage where you're able to build that out and then build out like a not natural, but like a walkout on there, right? And so not all lots will be able to do that. So not all lots will fit a bungalow. You might be better off doing a 2-story, and depending on kind of what you're building around and so forth. So for example, we're working with a lot of people that are building in the more established neighborhoods. If you're looking at Varsity View or Nutana, right. And we're looking at, first off, okay, they're looking at, I want a double attached garage or triple attached garage on the front of my house, mm-hmm. Right? Use 314 Lake Crescent, one of the properties that currently is under contract, but we did renderings. People are wanting to buy in an established neighborhood, but have something different that's not normally there because they have detached properties. So they're able to then figure out, because that lot size is a larger lot, it's 80 frontage by 140 with 50 on the back, they're able to create a different design than what normally would fit on most lots in these established neighborhoods. Yeah. But you're also looking at other options where, a lot of properties in these areas weren't 50 feet, right? They're maybe 37 and a half or 40 feet and so forth. So there's only a certain amount of property you can I guess build on. And so that you have to figure out where that lot is and then be able to find it.
Be able to find it. That's the tricky part, is especially in those older neighborhoods. And the value of lots has went up quite a bit in the last couple of years. We used to be looking at, $350 being a pretty good price for a lot. Now, yeah. If you're in a great location, it could be closer to $5.
We're even seeing
even higher than that, right?
700,000, depending on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people have money and they want to live in a certain neighborhood and they want that customization, they're willing to put there's properties like $1 million isn't what it used to be, right? I mean, there's a lot of properties that are getting in those mid, like 1.5 and now even 2 million, 2.5 in these certain areas because the cost to build is so much, and because also the lot then comes into the play there, right? But your material costs have went up so much. Like if you're looking at a really custom kitchen that might have cost 50, 60,000 before, now that's costing you 120,000. So then that really changes the price point, because then you're looking at what does your bathrooms look like? What does like everything else, right? And so it just makes it so, even roof lines. I mean, if you've got a really nice roof line, that can actually probably put up the roof by 50 or 60%.
Yeah. Well, and also, like we do simple things like, 8-foot walls compared to 9-foot walls, like that could be an extra $10,000 per floor, right? So there's a lot of different things. Now, one thing is that I've noticed through, the difference between spec and custom builds. Obviously, one you get to choose what you want at the end of the day, and you get exactly what you want. At the same time, is that there's a cost to it, right? Because the builders are spending time with you, spending time with the designers, spending time with the draftsmen to be able to make the blueprints, those kind of things.
And going back and forth constantly.
Going back and forth, and usually the buyers are the ones that take the longest time to make the decisions, and sometimes are the ones why it takes so long to actually get things completed, right?
Sure.
So, but one thing to keep in mind is that I don't think that many people realize what the budget is these days and what they can get for the costs out there. And then they're also probably not taking into consideration that you're probably anywhere from 10 to 15% above of what a spec build would be, would you say?
So,
to do a custom?
I mean, you might even be more than that, just depending
10 to 20
on,
maybe?
it could be 10 to 20. I mean, like, to build a custom home from start, you're paying probably the builder, the contractor, whoever they're going to work with you, about 15 to 20% on top of costs, right? And I mean, that comes with experience, that comes with design. I mean, I'm not an interior designer, right? I don't have a design background. I have some good ideas, but at the same time, this is what they do professionally, and you're hiring a company that aligns with your values. And I mean, I always talk to Sheena, always mentions this, is like, we're building for your lifestyle. So it's like, for them specifically as a builder, they're sitting down and figuring out, like, how do you move around your property? Like, what do you use your kitchen for? How do you do this? How do you use your back entrance? What age are your kids? And so it's interesting when you get into that design side of it, that spec house now isn't even an option, right? But the prices are way different than the custom and so forth, because usually a spec build is built to be able to be cost efficient in a certain neighborhood that builder is buying usually in quantity to be able to bring down those property prices, and they're just saying, hey, here's the 3 options. These are what you have, if you can even choose, because once it's being picked and the cabinet's being ordered, it's usually too late.
Right. Yeah, no, you're 100% right on that. It's definitely, it definitely takes a lot. Now, the cost of materials, like in the last couple of years, it's probably been at least to double, almost in the last 2-3 years of what material costs have been coming in.
Well, I think the thing is that people are spending more on their homes than they historically did now, because now things are going up in price, so people are more confident in it. But I believe just from where it is, once that inflation went up and those property price and those material costs hit a certain level, they're not coming down again, right? Like if a lumber yard has them at this price, they're not going to say, okay, we got a 50% discount on our lumber. Like, that's never going to happen. So I think that just material costs have went up 35%. My understanding is cabinets, as I explained before, went up 100%.
Right.
So you're paying double on these things. So I think that Saskatoon is still figuring out its luxury market between new custom to properties that were custom back in the day, but are still in the luxury market side in these established neighborhoods, because they're still trying to figure out the value, and they think they can go build for a cheaper price, but then they don't understand. You have to find the lot, you have to build the house, and it's going to take you maybe 2 years to be able to do that if you're lucky. So we're helping kind of figure that out for, our clients, and then also for the builders that we represent. But this is the struggle that we have in Saskatoon, because these new price points are just so different than a lot of people are in awe and won't accept it, right?
It takes some real education to be able for people to understand that, hey, this is what it is today. Not yesterday's prices, like this is what it's going to cost. Right?
For sure. Like, we hear from a lot of different agents that show our properties, and they're like, oh yeah, their budget started at $1 million, but now they're at 1.4. And it's like, but now they think the properties that are worth 1.6 should be 1.4 because that's their budget, right?
Yeah.
And so those things will, I think, figure themselves out, right? Just because, I mean, right now those properties a lot of them are selling. So now that becomes the...
and also for people to get their mind around, is it like you're saying, is it $1.5 million home in Saskatoon for the last decade has been probably some of the higher price point homes that have sold,
you didn't
right?
even see them
Is it
10
like,
years
you know,
ago,
2
right?
years
Like,
ago,
yeah.
like to have something in the twos was something that was kind of shocking, right? And nowadays it's, you know, with the cost of increase with the material costs, with the land value, you know, we're going to see a lot of custom builds that are $2.5-3 million in Saskatoon, and it's just going to become more prominent.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been part of quite a few different transactions that some of these properties like hung around for a little bit of time, but you had then buyers circling them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone writes an offer on a property that's 2.2 or 2.3, sorry, and then all of a sudden you see 5 buyers just like light it up. And you're like, so this has been sitting here for 2 years, and now all of a sudden you have 5 buyers. How did this work? But everybody's just waiting for these prices to go down, and I don't think they are, right? I think that when we start being able to show what new construction costs and what that property is to be able to do, people are going to start understanding how much of a deal these other properties are. Because I think that anybody that buys right now will be looking at it 3 years from now and saying, like, actually, I got a great deal.
Yeah.
That's at least my perspective on it, just seeing like how hard it is to find a lot and how you have to like pay a lot for that property because you're competing against usually homeowners that want to outbid you on a property they're going to live in, and you have to buy it over what they're willing to, and then you're using it to tear it down to build something else.
Right.
So it sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. I agree. I think that it's going to continue to increase over the next couple of years, and I also think that, you know, not being able to actually see what custom builds are actually selling for on the market would be some great information for people to have, just because it would show that range, right? You know, that we don't see a whole lot of the custom builds. We see some spec builds, but we don't see a lot of that stuff in the 1.5 that, you know, would actually be a custom build, and the clientele actually sees that, right?
For sure. I mean, I was talking to the brokerage this morning about this, and then just saying that we're going to sit down with Saskatchewan Real Estate Association and say, like, is there a way that when these custom homes are built, that we're able to, like, when it's finished, take pictures to be able to update, so then this information can be shown, because then anybody that buys that property down the road gets to know why it cost what it did and so forth.
For sure.
And at the same time, it helps educate buyers of what new construction costs, right? Because I think that's the hardest thing that are people getting their minds around, is that the prices really have went up that much, right? And so we're going to lead on that. And I've talked to quite a few other agents that represent luxury builders, and they think it's a good idea. So we'll probably be the first to kind of do that, maybe, unless we share this idea with too many people and then they do it. But at the same time, I think it's valuable for everybody, right? Because
it's information that's needed for the public.
I think there was over 50 houses built in and around Saskatoon last year, over $1 million, that were all custom, that didn't show on MLS.
Right.
And so what are those, like, what's being built? Like, what's the finishings? Like, we need to know that when we help price out used properties too, right?
For sure. That makes a huge difference. Is there anything else that you want to clarify with a custom build that you think is valuable information for our viewers out there?
I guess the biggest thing is understanding, first of all, your budget, and also what neighborhood you want to be in, and then understanding what it's going to cost you to find a lot in that area. And then if you can find something that's used that you're going to buy in a luxury market, fantastic, right? It saves you a lot of time and energy. A lot of people that are building these custom homes, they're quite established and they have professional jobs and don't have a lot of time. So if they can find something that's finished, it's super valuable. But understanding what new construction is really will help you understand where the value is in the used construction. And I think that will pay off, like, it's just a ton.
Tenfold,
tenfold, So, but yeah, so it's like we're figuring it out as we go too, to be able to, like, support this market and figure it out. And then we don't want to push the prices up, but at the same time, they're pushing themselves up, right? You got buyers that are coming in from different areas around the country that, I mean, have sold houses in like, let's say Vancouver or the island, and they have a lot more money to come back and spend.
For sure.
Hi, we've got a question from the audience.
I have a question, which is, so if I'm thinking of a custom build now, am I going straight to a builder, or am I having a conversation with my realtor, or how would my realtor help me?
Right. So great question. That's Caroline from our team. Well, we think that reaching out to us as a realtor can give you the feedback of what is actually happening in today's market. So I think reaching out, you can reach out to a builder, but I think before reaching out to them and wasting their time, I think it's a good idea to understand exactly what you're looking for, because you need to understand, like, what kind of style of home are you looking for? What's the finishings that you're looking for? Like, what's your end result? Because it's a lot of wasted time for the builder and for you, and you having to pay for that if you haven't figured that out already. So
there's a lot of education and pre-qualification of how, understanding kind of where the market is, the costs of it, and then being able to find the right builder that's be able to do that. Because the one thing that we also will see is that a lot of builders will purchase desirable lots in new developments, right? So sometimes you don't have the option as much. It's kind of like, one builder will have two different lots and it'd say, these are your options out here. The other builder might have a couple of different options. So it might be looking at where you want to live, and we can kind of walk you through that as well. And then maybe which builders might be, your best, your top two, and then we can kind of introduce you to them at that point as well.
For sure. I mean, every builder is going to specialize in something different, right? Sure. And so just like picking a realtor, you're picking a relationship, right? Like, you're picking someone that you trust and so forth. So it's having that partnership, sitting down with them, feeling comfortable with them. This is someone that you're going to trust and have them build out something for you for usually like a year, 2 years, right?
It's going to be a process too.
It's going to be a process. So then if you feel comfortable with it and you like the design and you like how they might interact with you in communication and what kind of programs they use so that you're updated continually, it'll make a big difference throughout, right? Yeah. And I mean, I know Bella Vista again has it's a great design experience, right? We sat down with another realtor and some clients and went over it, and they were impressed and felt comfortable. And then once that realtor has now introduced you to that builder, then it's that relationship for you and them to take on, and then you figure out exactly what's going to meet your needs. But I do think you need to figure out, what do you want for your lifestyle? Because that's probably one of the biggest things. Do you want to back a golf course?
Well,
do you want to be walking? Yeah.
Here's the thing: is that lifestyle is a lot of what we're looking for in any situation, right? A lot of times we're looking at that big picture and saying, okay, you guys want this, you want a different style of home, but okay, to meet your lifestyle, is it where do we got to be to be able to meet that, right?
Sure.
So it's just kind of taking that overview, that big picture look, and I do think that the right realtor is going to be able to help you out with that, to give you the education and guide you in the right direction to have success.
For sure. Show you properties that it might be out there, but ask you questions maybe that you haven't thought of, right?
For sure. And sometimes we're even going out and taking a look at some different properties to give an example of floor plans or maybe what those options would be, and then taking it back to the builder and saying, hey, guess what? These are kind of where we're leaning towards. What options do we have?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think those are all great points. Yeah, good job, Ryan.
Well, thanks again for listening up for our custom build podcast here. Once again, please give us a like on all of our social media platforms. And if you do need any help or have anybody out there, our greatest, the best thing that we can hear is that somebody wants to refer a family or friend to us, is that showing we're doing the right thing.
And we can then help you figure out which is the best builder to work with and help you navigate that, because that's what we're here from. In our years of experience, we'll just be able to save you time and make it less stressful. So thanks a lot and have a great day.